Most students don't think they have a spending problem. They think they have an income problem. The money comes in, the balance looks fine, and then somehow it leaks out. No big purchases, no obvious mistakes, just taps. A coffee here, a ride there. Food that feels cheap because it doesn't feel like money. And that's the trap. Modern payment systems didn't just make spending easier, they removed the psychological friction that used to protect you from yourself. When you pay with a card or a phone, you don't experience spending as loss. You experience it as convenience. Neuroscience backs this up. fMRI studies show that when people pay with cash, the brain's pain centers activate. The insula lights up. There's a moment of resistance. With cards and mobile payments, that signal is dramatically reduced. No physical exchange, no countdown of bills, just a green checkmark and a buzz. The transaction clears before your brain registers the cost. The result is measurable. On average, people spend about 80% more when paying electronically than when paying with cash. Not because they're irresponsible, because the system quietly rewires the decision process. Consider two students with the same income, the same intelligence, the same intentions. Jay uses Apple Pay for everything. It feels efficient. Every day after class or work, he taps for a $40 to $50 Uber Eats order. It doesn't feel excessive. It's just food. $45 a day is about $1,350 a month. Over a year, that's more than 16,000 euros. Over 10 years, even ignoring inflation or investment returns, that's roughly 150,000 euros in after-tax money converted into convenience. Not assets, not optionality, just frictionless consumption that never felt expensive in the moment. Alex lives differently, but not dramatically. Same city, same income range. Alex uses a cash envelope system for discretionary spending. Food delivery, eating out, rides, those categories get a fixed monthly amount. When the envelope is empty, spending stops. Not because of discipline or motivation, but because the system enforces a boundary. Alex spends about 750 euros a month across the same categories. That's 9,000 euros a year saved relative to Jay. Over a decade, that gap compounds into freedom. Even invested conservatively at 5%, 9,000 euros a year becomes roughly 115,000 euros in 10 years. Same life stage, same income, completely different trajectory. This isn't about cash being morally superior or technology being bad. It's about understanding profit margins in your own financial life. When spending friction goes to zero, your personal profit margin collapses. Every tap is a micro decision made without cost awareness. And small leaks matter more than big mistakes. A €3 coffee bought twice a day is 180 euros a month. That's 2,160 euros a year. At a 7% long-term return, that habit alone costs over 200,000 euros across a working lifetime. Not because the coffee is expensive, but because the decision repeats automatically without pain. The deeper issue is identity. Digital payments encourage a consumer identity rather than an owner identity. Owners think in cash flow, buffers, and optionality. Consumers think in monthly affordability. Can I afford this today? Replaces, does this improve my long-term position? When the question changes, outcomes follow. You end up optimized for comfort instead of control. Lifestyle creep doesn't arrive as a lifestyle. It arrives as a series of taps that never triggered discomfort. The solution isn't to go backward or reject modern tools. It's to reintroduce friction intentionally. One simple example works surprisingly well. Turn on instant spending notifications with sound or vibration for every card or wallet transaction. Not silent push notifications you ignore, but a physical cue, a buzz, a tone, something your nervous system can't avoid. That tiny interruption restores awareness. It forces a moment of recognition. Money just left. Some people take this further by using separate accounts for discretionary spending, or by forcing a manual transfer before spending. The goal is the same. Slow the decision just enough to let the rational brain participate. What matters is not how much you earn, but how much control you retain. Money is not just a medium of exchange, it's stored time. Every frictionless tap converts future options into present comfort without negotiation. Over time, that erodes autonomy. When you look back, it doesn't feel like you spent recklessly, it feels like nothing happened, and that's the most dangerous outcome of all. If you want real financial freedom, stop focusing on optimization hacks and start paying attention to how money feels when it leaves. The systems you use shape the person you become. Reintroduce friction where it matters. Protect your margin. Because the goal isn't to look wealthy or live conveniently. It's to compound control over your time. And that only happens when spending decisions are felt, not hidden.